So, 2025 was lucky for COD Mobile. We did exceptionally well in CDM Season 9, both performance wise and as community. Godlike with the podium finish, creators like Wiggle sweating it out to create content around it, to the viewers supporting the flag like never before. CDM slots दो से तीन हो गए. XLR8 returned with veterans like Vegas. Esotel invested heavily in a new lineup. सब कुशल मंगल चल रहा था until disaster struck, which, to be honest, ruined everything. So much so that I think COD Mobile is now beyond repair. What if I told you that the very people meant to protect Indian esports are the ones destroying it? That behind every major COD Mobile controversy of 2024, there's a pattern so obvious, yet we keep ignoring it. COD Mobile esports in India isn't just broken, it's beyond repair. This isn't new. This is how it's always been. Sometimes internally, sometimes out in public, COD Mobile esports, especially in India, has been chaotic, full of drama, nonsense, unnecessary toxicity, disguised as banter, trying to replicate the West. We've been the wannabes. We forget the audience we have and how they perceive these things sometimes. We want everyone to take gaming and esports seriously. We want the government to recognize gaming. But we ourselves make a joke out of what little we have here. I could have made this video earlier. बहुत views आते हैं. But there's no point in adding fuel to an already burning fire. And still, this video isn't talking about who's right or who's wrong. It isn't about taking side. Isn't about judging anyone. Isn't about the could have or the would haves. It's about how we turn a blind eye to the core problem and just blame. How we don't take a united stand and help people in need. How we judge people even without hearing their side of the story. And how we are so short-sighted that we think things will eventually be better. If not Activision, for sure, Riot would be better at managing things. But before we get into what went wrong, let's first understand who is actually running the show here. In 2023, Activision signed a 2-year deal with ESL Faceit Group, which is owned by Savvy Games, a holding company owned by Saudi government public investment fund. In simple words, oil money. They are the oldest and still operational esport organizer in the world. Now, they're responsible for, or maybe say it like, they manage everything related to esports for COD Mobile. For India, they have partnered with Nodwin Gaming and have subcontracted their duties and operations in India, which is a standard practice. होता है ऐसा. So when I talk about mismanagement, when I point out these fumbles, we're not talking about some small-time local organizer struggling with resources. We're talking about a billion-dollar operation backed by a government fund. With decades of experience partnered with established names like Nodwin, this makes everything I'm about to show you even more inexcusable. Now, for anyone who is not aware of what happened, let's list down the things which went horribly wrong in the past few weeks in COD Mobile, and how conveniently we point out the things that affect us while turning a blind eye to the ones not worth our precious time. To understand the problem better, let's talk about two incidents, one from CDM and another from 2024 Vitality roster, who won stage 4 regional finals against Godlike. XLR8, a team which disbanded last year, makes a staggering comeback into the scene and gets a direct slot for CDM Season 10. By the way, CDM is handled by Team Studios and not ESL. How? Why? Who recommended their name? No one knows. While we all know they are a phenomenal team, top 3 in India by a mile. Probably, if they were qualifiers for CDM, they would have been the one going in as India's third entry. But here's the problem. When there is no transparency, no way for other teams to grind their way up, and a team that disbanded 6 months ago is handed a free slot, that's where it shows how serious we are about building an ecosystem. I was the only one to point this out on Twitter, and majority of people were not bothered about this or didn't see this as an issue. Let's go a little back in time. When Vitality was a thing, they had Tectonic, Solo, Marvel as imports. Some people alleged that they violated WC rules 1.5, 2.2, 7.3.2, and 7.3.3.
I see some of you are day one supporters. That's really, really great. Are we living in India, and are we on North American or European salaries or Indian salaries? So I'll answer that one. The team is here on business visa instead of tourist visa. So because of that, they have to be paid in the local currency. Sure.
Overall, they pointed out these players were on business visas and not work visas, which goes against WC rules as well as Indian visa and work laws for foreign nationals. And that's not the point I am pointing out, my friends, because these allegations may be true or maybe just a slip of tongue as seen earlier in the video. But the problem is how the management handled this. After multiple emails, Giriraj Gehlot, who is an ESL admin, said this. We are aware of the concerns from fans and players over alleged violations. We encourage concerned players and fans to reach out to local authorities to file a formal complaint as appropriate. I mean, this is the official response to such a serious allegation. No internal investigation, no follow ups, nothing. Just ask the fans to file a complaint. Why not? What mockery is this? And we want to be treated as any other sports in this country? Well, a similar case was brought up in this tweet, alleging SHUL Frann violated WC Home Region Rule 1.1.2. Allegedly, Frann did not play Stage 1 of WC from the Indian region. Or, if I put it more correctly, Frann did not play Stage 1 while holding an Indian work visa, which violates WC rules. Well, fair point, and maybe true or maybe not. I really don't care. Instead of demanding answers, some of us started questioning the guy who came up with this allegation. When it's someone famous, we tend to target the people trying to point out things. HOTL did not give any answers. And to be honest, they're not obligated to answer to any Tom, Dick, or Harry on Twitter. But again, the ESL management should be the one investigating it or at least releasing a statement regarding this issue. Up until this point, you see, there's a clear pattern of mismanagement. A lack of transparency, the whole scene, especially the players, suffer directly or sometimes indirectly. The moment we choose to stay silent, it's only a matter of time before it comes to bite us back. Then comes WC Stage 4 2025. After efforts from multiple people, Activision decides to give streamers permission for Stage 4. Well, while a good step in the right direction, ESL yet again fumbles it up. They gave the owner, mod, partner, member, whatever you want to call him, of a team permission to spectate in-game his own team. Crazy stuff. Well, what happens is SOTL loses SND. While I'm not sure, or well, maybe I'm sure this team did not cheat, this raises a question: who is responsible for this fumble? Think about it. There's someone getting paid to do a job and still makes this, well, rookie mistake. And again, what's the end result? People in the community fight among themselves. It's not the team's fault. It's not the streamer's fault. It's only and only the management, which is ESL's fault. Then comes the biggest drama of them all. XLR8 got disqualified because of account sharing. But according to XLR8, They did get prior permission. The community yet again targets the wrong guy. This time it's Joko's. What he did was, quite frankly, the right thing. He did not make a fuss about it on Twitter, but simply reported it to ESL. But what ESL did was disqualify XLR8 without any investigation or giving them a chance to present their case. Literally, XLR8 got ghosted by ESL admins. Well, these corporate dallas treat these players, treat us as nothing. They don't understand that these players grind day and night, sacrifice, fight with their parents, spend what little they have for one small dream. This leads to XLR8 exiting the CODM scene completely, and rightly so. Who wants to be in a broken ecosystem? In fact, there's no ecosystem at all. Similarly, Exceed got disqualified from WCA. Well, reason? Miscommunication. No formal investigation, nothing. All these people have to come to a public platform to present their cases. You get the pattern here. There are people sitting at the top treating the community like puppets, running the whole show as if it's their own little, well, dictatorship. No statements, no investigation, no proper ecosystem, no support system. It leaves the fans and the players fighting among themselves. Well, when you are organizing such a big event, there are mistakes. They are bound to happen, and there's nothing wrong about that. But there should be a proper system to investigate, to release statements, to maybe communicate with the teams, the players, and the fans. But that's all missing. बस राम भरोसे सब कुछ चल रहा है. Well, here's a note, ladies and gentlemen, to all of you, the fans. When something like this happens in the community, don't take any sides. Don't play the super fan. Just let these players fight and solve it among themselves. Because what I don't like is, first, you bring the internal issue out on a public platform like Twitter. The fans chime in and take sides. Obviously, they will. Well, they defend their favorite player or maybe orgs, but when the soup cools down, these very people call the fans toxic. These very people say, if you don't know the whole story, don't make assumptions. But who brought this up on a public platform in the first place? Stay away from these dramas because a photo like this will appear out of nowhere. And once you, the super fan, will now be termed as a hater and nothing else. Well, CODM is beyond repair. The only way to fix this is to employ people who care for the scene, who are deeply rooted in the scene, and make a complete ecosystem of player, fan, and creator feedback. Without which, this game will be dead for good. Because if we don't act now, we'll be having the same conversation about Valorant Mobile in 2026. This was part 1 of the video, guys. You might think, what's the solution? Well, remember the content creator survey? That's part 2 of this video, क्योंकि जो हाल e-sport players का है, उससे बुरा हाल YouTubers का है. So CP के codes देके उनसे काम करवाया जा रहा है. Well, it's going to be an interesting one. This was RainX signing off. I'll see you in the next one.